morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. So today, first up for T&D, we have a what I thought was very appropriate mug that says "I make the rules" with Darth Vader on the other side. It feels that for an opinion list, it's a pretty solid choice in terms of subject matter. Specifically the I make the rules, not the Darth Vader part. Not the point. Inside of it, we have some Monk's Blend tea from Beantown. Again, if you haven't tried Monk's Blend tea before and you really like tea, I think you will probably like this one. It's got like a really deep flavor. Definitely more like rich than a lot of like the fruity or lemony kind of ones that I have. But I really like it. I hadn't heard of it before a couple years ago now, and so I love having it around. So check it out. Anyway, getting into what we are talking about today, we are talking about my, in no way biased, personal favorite subclass from each class. These are obviously objective statements, and they should be treated as such, except for the fact that I will probably be making, relatively soon, a list of what I believe to be the most powerful of each of the subclasses, as opposed to just what I think are the best. This sort of stems from my video from, I think it was yesterday, where I mentioned my favorite Ranger subclass, in spite of the fact that it wasn't the most powerful, and so there were a couple of questions about that one. And so here we are talking about this. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's dive in, shall we? Let me pull up the thing next to me so that I can make sure that I have access to stuff in case I forget it. I have them all written down right here, what I think, but in case I magically suddenly forget a couple of points that I need to make, that I have it up next to me now. Okay, first up, starting at the top, we're just going to go straight through the alphabetical list. We have the Artificer. These are being presented in the alphabetical order of the base class, not by, like, preference level. Though that could be fun, too. But I would have to start this whole video over, and I'm not going to do that. So we're going to start with the Artificer. My favorite Artificer subclass is the Battlesmith, which is weird because, honestly, it's just a Ranger with a robot, but that's probably why. Ranger is one of my favorite classes as a whole, and I really like the Battlesmith. Hi, what are you doing back there? I don't know if you guys can hear that if you're listening to it alone, but if you're watching, you can see the cat just like right over there. Anyway, the Battlesmith is the Artificer subclass that gets a robot companion, essentially, and really just conceptually, I really like that a lot. It's the Artificer subclass that to me feels the most artificery. That and the Armorer are the two that feel like the most, like, buildy guy kind of Artificer subclass, which is what I have in my head whenever I think of it. So that is my pick for Artificer. Next up, we move on to the Barbarian. This one, for me, is pretty straightforward, but there is a runner-up that is not that far behind it. For me, the Zealot Barbarian, Path of the Zealot, is my absolute favorite Barbarian subclass, with the Wild Magic Barbarian a little ways behind, just a little bit. I am a huge fan of the Zealot Barbarian. I also understand that it is widely considered to be like the most powerful because you can't kill it at high levels, but I really like it for the reason that it has some really cool flavor to it. I don't know. I like it just as a concept. I have liked it a lot since it came out, pretty much. I've never played one, but I would really like to. This is an example of one of the ones where, like, you're probably going to see the best coming out. Though I guess with Barbarian, Totem Warrior is also widely considered to be one of the best. It's kind of a split, but some of them are like, oh, these are the most powerful, and some of them are like, oh, this is a weird choice. Like this next one that we have here, as we move on to the Bards. My favorite Bard subclass is not one that I have, like, super crazy strong opinions on, but I do really like it. It is my favorite one flavor-wise. It is my favorite one conceptually. I like classes that allow you to have a lot of creativity in it, which can be any class as long as you play it that way. But my pick for the Bard is the College of Creation. Widely considered to be not a particularly overly powerful subclass, but it is so fun. I think it's so fun. I have not gotten to play one yet, but everything that I've read about it, like all of the brain noodling that I've done around it, has led me to believe that it is hilarious and a lot of fun, and I am really excited to get to play one whenever that chance comes. Also, hopefully, I will be able to start incorporating more of these as NPCs in my home games and stuff like that, but I would really like to play one of those. Moving along from the Bards, we go to the Cleric. And the Cleric, for me, is kind of a no-brainer. There are some classes that I have where I'm like, I could go either way on these. Cleric is one of the ones where I have an absolute favorite, definitely. That is the Peace Domain Cleric. I know that it is not like widely considered to be the best, but it's up there. But the concept around it and the fact that it is built around being a support subclass is what I really like about it. Whenever I get to play those support classes, support subclasses, and so the fact that it is that makes me very happy on the inside. And so I adore a good Peace Domain Cleric. I got to play one in a like mini campaign one-shot kind of thing. His name was Al. He was a Tortle. His full name was Al Poto. He was a Tortle Peace Domain Cleric, and we had a great time with him. Next up for Druid, another one where I have a like hard and fast favorite, like far and away hard and fast favorite, and that is the Circle of the Stars. Again, not necessarily considered to be like the best, but God, I love it. I really do. It's another one where it's kind of built around being support / buff and debuff, and that is what I really like to be able to do when I'm playing in D&D. I got to play one in a game that will be coming out at some point here. We've run into some production slowdowns, and so it's, taking a little bit longer, but that is the way that it goes, and it is important to prioritize people over the product itself. So we're waiting for it to come out. It'll come out whenever it does. But I got to play one in it. I adored him. He is one of my favorite PCs I have ever gotten to play. Actually, he is probably my favorite PC I've ever gotten to play. Maybe save for my first ever PC, but that's because of, like nostalgia stuff. But Circle of Stars is so much fun. There's a lot of utility to it, and it's just an entertaining kind of take on what you can do. Plus, I really like starry, cosmo-y kind of stuff. Moving on from there to the Fighter, this one is actually genuinely a split for me. I really like both the Eldritch and Echo Knights. I know a lot of people are like, Echo Knight isn't that well written. Echo Knight is, in my opinion, the fighter subclass that offers you the most creative sort of spread. You can do so much with that Echo, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go read it, honestly, because it's wild how much you can actually do. I got to play one in a one-shot, and I was blown away by how much I could actually do with that Echo. Now, the Eldritch Knight provides you with the most versatility, in my opinion, of any fighter subclass, which is why Battlemaster is also an honorable mention here. But the versatility that you get by just having spells, just like the ability to do spells, no matter what they are really, immediately elevates you significantly, in my mind. Moving on to Monk, this one is a little bit closer. It's a little bit more, I don't really know about caring all that much for it, but I really do love me a good Way of Mercy Monk. I like being able to be a healer a lot of the time, and the Way of Mercy really sort of captures that like line between life and death sort of thing very, very well, and I really, really do like that a lot. Again, got to play it in a one-shot one time. It was a very short one-shot, but it was a lot of fun. We didn't really get to like dive into exactly what it was that I could do because it was like level 3, so we had just gotten the first features, but it's still a good time. Moving forward to the Paladin, this one, I might make the internet mad at me for this one, but I genuinely don't really care all that much about Paladins. Like, I think they're cool, but I have not played one. I haven't really had the desire to play one super intensely. I think the event in which I would pick a Paladin over any number of other classes would be where I am joining a campaign and they don't have a tank or a healer, because I know that they can do both. And like, don't get me wrong, Paladins mechanically are phenomenal. I know I would have a good time. I've never met somebody who had a bad time playing a Paladin. It's just not at the top of the list for me. So this one is more of a wash sort of across the board for me. But I did eventually settle down, again, on a split here, mostly because it's sort of two sides of the same coin, with the Redemption and Vengeance Paladin. It's more of like the flavor again with it. It is conceptually, to me, pretty much the same thing, but on opposite sides. You're either redeeming yourself or you are extracting revenge for yourself or something like that. And so I know that mechanically Vengeance is like super, super good. That Vow of Enmity is phenomenal, but it's one of those where I could take it either way, honestly. Next up, the Ranger. We know this one already. I talked about it, I believe, yesterday. Might have been 2 days ago. Horizon Walker. Okay, I know it's not mechanically the best, but hit level 11 with it, and oh my god, you are all over the place. There is so much versatility in this subclass. There is absolutely nothing you can say to convince me that it is not one of the coolest subclasses in the game, with the ability to just teleport around. It does kind of lock you in to being a ranged fighter, but a lot of people who play Rangers anyway are sort of that way anyway. But you're also weirdly kind of an up-close ranged fighter, so it's a whole thing. It's a lot of fun, but it's a whole thing. I am looking forward to the day where I get to actually play one of these like properly. It might be that I make them an NPC and have them in a game with one of my parties, but like, I adore the Horizon Walker Ranger. Moving forward to Rogue. This one might not be a super surprise because I did talk about it a couple weeks ago, I think. The Phantom Rogue is my favorite Rogue subclass by, not by like a country mile, but by quite a bit, honestly. I love the Swashbuckler too, but the Phantom Rogue, with the flavor that it has associated with it, with like the concept of like snatching bits of souls and everything like that, it's just perfect to me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check it out. Their whole thing is being able to like grab bits of people's souls. It's really cool. Next up for Sorcerer, one that I am playing right now. I love him so much, and I was right in originally thinking this. The Divine Soul Sorcerer, hands up and down, my favorite Sorcerer subclass. Now, I mean, it's got the Cleric list in it, or it's got the Cleric spell list in it. I love Clerics. This should be kind of a no-brainer. You should have been able to see this one coming if you were thinking that far ahead. But Divine Soul Sorcerer, top-notch to me. I think it is one of the most fun Sorcerer subclasses. Getting to pair a Cleric spell list with the versatility of a Sorcerer is absolutely ludicrous. It is absolutely insane. Honestly, every spellcaster should be able to quicken spell something. Just at least once. Like, the Metamagic Adept feat is phenomenal for that. Being a Sorcerer and just being able to do it a bunch of times, even better. Like, so good. Next up, after the Sorcerer, is the Warlock. Another one where I'm kind of like, could take it either way. And I don't really know why, because I really like Warlocks. I think it might be the fact that, like, I'm actually kind of a fan of pretty much all of their subclasses. I ended up going with the undead slash-ish honorable mention to Hexblade. It feels like, to me, it feels like Hexblade is like the one that everybody jumps on all the time. And so I kind of automatically tend away from it towards the undead. If you want to see exactly what an undead warlock can do, Marisha Ray is playing one right now. And it is, it's amazing to see. It's really, really cool. It really is. It's got a lot of cool flavor in it. It's got a lot of cool mechanics in it. I haven't gotten to play one, so I don't know necessarily how that level scales, but I do think it is a really, really cool subclass. Finally, we come to the wizard, and the wizard is weird to me because actually my favorite wizard subclass is one that I wrote. It's one of the first posts I ever did on my Patreon. It's free to the public. You guys can go check it out if you want to. It is not. You don't have to be subscribed to me or anything to see it. So it's just way back in the catalog. But of the official wizard subclasses that have been published, I ended up split between the Chronergy and the Order of Scribes wizards. I have a player right now who is playing a Bard multi-class wizard into the Order of Scribes. And she is doing a phenomenal job of it. It's so cool to see some of the stuff that she actually does. She doesn't do a lot of the damage conversion yet, but that is just a really, really cool, like, concept of a thing to be able to do. I mean, it makes perfect sense with a wizard, but it's just so cool. And then Chronergy, I mean, stopping and shifting time, that's super anime. I don't know what else to tell you on that one, and that's just really kind of cool. So those are my two favorite for the wizard. After the one that I had written back in like July or something like that. But that is the end of that list. Let me know what you guys think. What are your favorites? I will do, I think, what I think are the most powerful ones sometime soon here, so that we can sort of get that in there too. Moving on to what shows we have today. It is Wednesday, so we have Dimension 20, Knocked Prone, Venture Maidens, and Trials and Trebuchets. Go check those out. Send them some love. Let them know that I sent you. I've been keeping up with some of these, and they are really, really fun. But that is everything I have to talk to you guys about today. Thank you so much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much in particular to my patrons. You guys are the ones that make this show possible. If you are interested in becoming a patron, there is a link to my Patreon in the description of this episode. I just sort of revamped Patreon. It's got a lot of cool stuff on there that I'm excited about. There's going to be an extra show. There's going to be like not an advice column, but like an Ask Me Anything kind of column. There's polls to see what you guys want me to talk about on this. There's, I'm working on figuring out merch right now so that we can have some stuff, because stuff is cool. But go check that out. Link in the description of this episode. Anyway, that is everything I have to talk to you guys about. Thank you so very much for coming along. And don't forget, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.